Skull, my friends. So I said last video I was going to get back up on the fucking horse, and then I went on vacation for a week, which was pretty nice. I got to experience some lovely stuff that I haven't in probably about 10 to 12 years, which included fishing on a boat, enjoying the islands, stuff like that, but it's pretty great. But I kind of want to get into something, and I've been thinking about it for a while I was out, and I'm really kind of not only scared to do this, but I'm sad to do this. I was waiting for a while for Starbase to come out, right? And I was waiting for the early access, even closed alpha when it was, brewing during that time. And I was so hype about this game. I even made a couple videos where I was super positive. I was like, look, guys, we got to trust Frozen Byte. They're a great company. They only have our best interests in mind. And, they're trying to make a polished game and stuff. But, and I really want to say this real quick is don't judge what I'm about to say as I am hating on this game and shitting on this game. But I actually need to make some constructive criticism. There's 3 different things, probably more once I get into the speed of the rant, that I want to talk about. And I just want to jump right in there and see if they provoke some thought for you guys. And disclaimer, I like criticism. So feel free to write something down below in the comments. I will engage you. I love engaging anyone who comments on my stuff, and I love talking about different aspects. If you can debate any of these topics and give me a good enough reason of why they need to be solidified in the game or why something needs to be changed, let me know. I love it. I love hearing it. But if you say I'm a fucking little shit and don't know how to play or get good, I really don't give a fuck. Whatever. Anyways, starting out, the first thing I really got to think of is just ease of access for the game, right? I spent about a week working in the SSC, and honestly, it was interesting what I came up with. I was basically forming a hull and coming up with a whole bunch of different types of ideas, putting all the internals and nervous system of the ship together and everything else. And when I went to go test it, obviously it failed. That's normal. That's what happens when you create something. And then I spent some more time on this. And little did I realize that the time I was accumulating in the SSC was a lot. I have about 200 hours in this game, and a majority of my time was spent in the SSC trying to create a ship. And I can understand in a game like Starbase where they promote these complex mechanics, where they want you to have these unique and interesting looking ships with all different types of abilities and roles that they can play. They don't want you to have some jack of all trades cube. All that time that I was spending is ridiculous. And when I say ridiculous, really, when I spend a majority of my time in the game learning how the SSC works, learning how ships are built and everything else, there's little time for fun for me. I can speak for a lot of people with a 9 to 5 saying that the last thing they want to do when they get on a game at the end of their day after doing work and then housework is to literally learn how to build something more complex than anything out there on the market right now. I'm going to throw up a prime example, 2 prime examples actually, is Space Engineers and Empyrean. Both of those have very simplistic shipbuilding mechanics compared to Starbase. In Empyrean, you can just throw what's called a core down, and then you add parts to that core, and you have a CPU usage, which is basically every part has a CPU number. And if you go over that number, then your ship doesn't work as well. It has an efficiency percentage, that kind of shit. But it's very easy. You just slap shit on there, hope you're not blinding any of your turrets with any blocks, and then you just make something really pretty. It takes less than 10 minutes, or even less than that, as long as you have the parts available. You can slap something together in like 2 minutes. I don't know, man. It took me maybe about 6 to 7 minutes to build a hauler for the first time back in my game, and I don't know how long. And it was easy. And then I made it all decorative and shit, and it was really pretty, and I enjoyed it, and it worked. Kind of. And then I found out it failed. And I went back to the drawing board, and I rebuilt it, and kept doing that until I figured out what my efficiency was, and I made a really good ship. Space Engineers, the same fucking thing applies, except you have to work with networks. So you have to work with your pipes and wirings and shit. Honestly, those are really good shipbuilding systems because it allows players, new players, to basically read a quick tutorial that's less than maybe about a page, slap some stuff together, and then over time, work on something, improve on something, and make something better until they have something they like. The unfortunate side of Starbase is, yeah, you can test drive it within the SSC, but once it actually comes to doing its job, you're not going to be able to test that. Yeah, sure, you can test if the lasers work. You can test whether or not, the math that you put in is going to be able to move the lasers a certain way. You can test whether the power is working, this or that. But that test mode isn't going to hold up against using it in the real world, which means you have to print that shit out. So all this time that you spent within the SSC building your ship using the internal test mode, and then finally it comes out to printing it out and spending all that money and ores on it, and then it fails. That's not really, a good feeling to a new player. And I can understand a lot of people are going to say it takes time. It takes a lot of time for these complex mechanics to actually go through, because there's so many different variables going through these fucking engines, going through the fuel rods, going through everything. So you have to make sure it's actually functioning properly. And it takes a lot of skill and intelligence to do. Now, if your argument is going to be, dude, there's like a 10-minute fucking tutorial on YouTube where some dude puts together a ship into a cube and, it works and he shows you how to do the basics. Yeah, that's fine and dandy all, but no one wants to be your generic default fucking cube. No one wants to be cube meta. No one wants to have that fucking exact same ship as everyone else. It's the same reason why no one wants the fucking same laborer. You're going to see people attaching boxes in free space, and you're going to also see people floating around attaching different tethers and stuff just to fit their customized needs. It's about ease of access. You don't want to work from a 9 to 5, like I said, and then come back and have to spend another 100 fucking hours on this game learning how a ship is built. Where is the fun in that? And I really want people to kind of approach me and tell me, what is the appeal to that for the basic player? This is why there's not a lot of people on the surface coming. And those are basic players. Those are the people that enjoy Ark or Atlas for its simplicity. Those are the people who enjoy all these other games for its simplicity. And I know you can say like, oh man, I don't want my ships, these complex ships, to be fucking, outdone by these easy, throw 3 things together kind of shit. But realistically, you're going to have a more complex ship if you know how it works and how to make it efficient, more than just a person slapping like 6 different fucking beams together and an engine. You're going to understand how it works more than them. At the end of the day, yeah, sure, you're probably going to be better. But we need people to be able to look at this game and not see on the surface how difficult and complex it is, and have to spend more time working outside of work to play this game. You don't want to turn it into work. You don't. And my second point here, and I'm really going to put this in between everywhere, and I swear to God I'm going to make it fucking subliminal, is I understand it's fucking early access, and it's before early access. Realistically, this game is still a fucking alpha. We know it. It is. It's unfinished. So please don't say, they're still working on it. I know they are. I really do. It's going to take them time to refine this game, and it's going to be a great game. It's amazing. I love this game. But these are my criticisms. All right, so delays, right? Time is important for companies. Time is everything. They need to make sure that they're releasing everything that they want in that fucking package to make sure they don't disappoint a single person. That's why there's things like roadmaps to bring people in and show them, hey, look, this is what we're creating. This is what we have planned. Be excited. Be hyped with us. Here's the next roadmap we're ticking off as time progresses. This is the next update. But unfortunately, we haven't hit any of those roadmaps. And I can understand where the developers sit back and they go, oh man, we need to get this polished. We need to get this amazing. These have to be good for the players. These things came up, yada, yada, yada. I realistically don't understand why they released this as an early access tag. If half the things that they wanted to accomplish either A, didn't make it into the game, B, didn't get polished enough and broke the game, or C, they're never going to fucking reach it in the first place. This is what I'm frustrated about. It's the same reason I'm frustrated at Star Citizen, is they come out with a roadmap, they cut half of the things from the fucking roadmap, and then they just continue on like no one notices. And yes, I understand this is taking a shot at the developers. You guys have done a good job. You really have. But sometimes we need to take a step back and realize that the ambitious project that we're undertaking needs to take a step back, and we need to understand that our goals have to be easily achievable. We can't break our backs for something that we know is not going to be achieved. As a company, you don't want to jinx yourself and say you're going to come out with these amazing mechanics and all this other stuff when at the first hurdle you hit, you know you're not going to be able to come out with half of that shit. Looking at the roadmap now, there has been so many delays, and the same reason behind almost all of them. And I can quote it. It's on almost every single Reddit post, every single Discord post, every single Steam discussion post. It says, added features and polishing, added features and polishing, added features and polishing. They wanted to make sure that everything that they were putting in there, everything was polished, and they had all the features that they wanted, that the players wanted. That's it. But it keeps happening. I feel like Frozen Byte needs to take a step back and realize that this is an ambitious undertaking. This is something that doesn't exist right now, other than what they have. It is unique. It is amazing. And they can't take on all this shit on their shoulders, because otherwise you're going to risk it all and you're going to break. And look what's happening now. Starbase is rated mixed. Huge percentage is mixed because of people, basic players, entering the game, realizing it's not the potential that they said it was, and leaving a bad review. And that's a whole nother thing I can rant about for a fucking day, is there's probably not going to be a way they're going to come back from these Steam reviews at all. Just using No Man's Sky for an example, No Man's Sky got shit on for a long time, and then it came out finally with a whole bunch of stuff. But it's still fucking jaded. People look at it and say, oh shit, it's that game. Starbase does not need that. And as far as unique games go, and I really want to hammer on this game is fucking unique. This game is amazing. And let's put it in here again. I understand it's fucking early access. I understand it's basically an alpha, and I understand they're working on it. No amount of get good or just wait and stop complaining is going to change how I feel about this. This is one that can be easily debated with a lot of people. And it's something I personally believe. And feel free to say something about it, but I believe that the size of the universe is just hard to traverse. For someone who has limited time, it is very hard to traverse. It took me 2.5 hours to get to a certain spot, and during that time, I basically watched YouTube videos, I watched Amazon Prime, I watched a whole bunch of shit. I played my fucking DS, I played on my phone. It's like, I realistically should not be spending that much fucking time doing that, just getting to a location before I can mine, and then I have to head back. And unfortunately, if I log out and the ship is moving, I no longer become part of that. So if, God forbid, I have to go during that 2.5 hour stint, I am just in the middle of nowhere and I have to die and go back. It's the same problem I have with Star Citizen, where I spend 3 hours just getting something ready to go, getting in the ships, and then something bugs out or something breaks, or it's just too long of a time I spend in this game. For the normal player, you have limited time, and you have to use that efficiently. You have to make sure that you're spending your time to be happy. Now, I can understand, guys, if you're really happy playing this game, good for you. I have no problem with you. I have no problem with what you do. Enjoy yourself. I really hope you enjoy yourself. But for me, I have limited time, and I've said this like probably about 5 times now. Limited fucking time. I don't want to spend 3.5 hours traversing the universe, going through different areas just to mine one thing. I had an idea where I wish there was more rings that people could go through and warp to different areas of the universe. That way it cut time in half. Cut time in a quarter. Who knows? Go to the moon. Obviously there's a ring for that right now. Go to the outer belt. There should be a ring for that. Go to here. Go to there. We needed to make it easy. After someone creates a ship, they want to be able to take that ship out and fly it, enjoy it. And the only time you really can do that right now is within their limited constraints. You don't want people to feel like this is another job. You don't want people to feel like they're wasting their time or they need to spend 3-4 hours doing this just to accomplish something. You need your basic players, the people on the surface who go to their 9-to-5s and then come back home and they want to sit down and enjoy themselves. You can do that with Space Engineers. You can do that with Empyrean. You can do that with a lot of other games. You want people to understand that they can sit down and enjoy the game rather than sit down and have to work. It is a complex game. It has amazing mechanics. It's ambitious. And I see its future as bright. But the one thing that scares me is the undertaking of these monotonous or these very extremely taxing things that people need to do in order to enjoy it. You don't want to restrict your player base to a small clutch of people, because those people really do enjoy building out these things. Like, I can understand there's a lot of good people who are shipbuilders out there. And there's another argument that a lot of people can say is like, oh, well, if you don't want to spend time building a ship, then just go fucking buy one. It's like, no. The whole point of the game is to have a custom ship. The whole point of the game is to make something great. And yeah, I can understand the whole point of the game is to have like these huge used car sale lot of fucking ships that people have designed, and you get to pick out and see all these different stuff. It's a game that's based on shipbuilding. It really is. So if you want to say, oh, you have to spend the time, and if you want a good ship, it's no. You should be able to build the nervous system of your ship. You should build everything that it needs and then start forming how beautiful it is within a few days. You shouldn't have to spend fucking hundreds of hours learning this thing. One of my friends took 2 months to build a fucking ship. And you could say, oh, he's dumb. But it's like during that time, he had to test it out. He had to make sure whether or not it was actually fucking working. You don't just... This is something that frustrates me. And I know it's going to be an argument. Someone's going to message me on Discord and be like, yo, Solar, get good. Why don't you go play fucking easy games then? This is a complex game. It's like, nah. This is supposed to be an enjoyable game. And I want to enjoy it. I do. Still from time to time, but it's not really something I want to sink my time into anymore for 24/7. I really want to play something that I feel like rewards me back for my time rather than sink it in for another job. Anyways, guys, I really just wanted to hammer on those things, bring on the negative feedback. It's going to happen. I know everyone's going to write paragraphs down there downing me and telling me I'm a fucking idiot or downvoting my video. But look, it's healthy criticism. That's how this shit works. You can't just downvote someone just because they have a different opinion than you. It's really how it works. So if you have some healthy criticism, if you have a paragraph you want to write where you want to debate me, go for it, man. I'm totally up for it. I welcome it. And look, guys, I look forward to seeing you in the next video. I'm Solar Polar Bear. Stay frosty.